Greetings, demolitionists. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Timberborn, Episode 8, Explosives. So besides the injury, Campfire Rooftop Terrace is... I think I'm going to reduce working hours by 1 to give them more time to recreate, because I think that a lot of the beavers are right on the threshold between 40% and 60%. So reducing their working hours by 1 hour might increase their work speed productivity by 20%, which is a very good trade. Because a lot of these beavers are just on the cusp, and that also increases their move speed potentially, if they're really happy, by twice the bonus that they currently have. So by giving them more time off, hey, big corporations, listen up. A 4-day work week makes you more productive. I know, the math doesn't add up, but it's not about math, it's about morale. Well, yeah, beavers follow that same sort of benefit. Give them a little bit more time off, and they actually work a little bit faster. It's terrific. All right, it looks like the engine is all set. I'm going to pause it because it's not doing anything right now. So the current priority right now is add medical care, which is, I think, going to be pretty straightforward. So in terms of well-being, the first thing I'm going to want is a medical bed. And this is where beavers can go to rest. I am going to give them a nice, glorious view when they're sick. They don't actually care. I'm just making things up. But I'm going to put them up here. So that's 3 medical beds. And then the medical beds also have to be paired with a healer, which produces medicine. So I need a little bit more science. I need about 143 more science in order to unlock the healer. Fortunately, I do already have the dandelions, some dandelions to produce medicine, so I probably won't need to plant any. But it might not be a bad idea to, at some point, plant some additional dandelions, which is a forester thing. So getting a dandelion patch going could be of a benefit. The dandelions are a gathering flag thing as well. I don't feel great. Oh, I don't know. Got to do a little thinking here. But yeah, there we go. The extra day off did raise well-being up to a record level. I was right about that. Let's call it a gamble. Why don't I separate my farmhouses to use land on the bottom right? I'm just using this as storage. As storage areas. If the poles swing towards me working on food, I will do projects like that. Basically, I work on whatever says the current priority above my head. We do have a drought coming. Got it. It's good to have that engine then. Master Silk, thank you for the resub. So I would even go so far as to say the fermented soybeans we have a lot of. And then we're getting a decent supply of cassavas. Kohlrabi is actually, interestingly, the crop that we are not able to keep in stock. So what I might want to do is to reduce the amount of soybeans and to increase the amount of kohlrabis to sort of balance it out, which is interesting. So yeah, let's do that. Everything on this lower tier here will become kohlrabi. And I don't have a lot of construction projects at the moment going on, so I'm going to reduce my builder workforce and employ them as... Oh, and also I could probably fire my paper press. Yeah, definitely there's no more capacity for that. fire my paper press to put them as an inventor as well, so that we get more science and we can unlock more things more quickly. So the healer beds up here rely upon medicine, which I currently don't have in stock. So they will lay in the beds, which fulfills their basic need for injury recovery, but they recover faster with medicine. So the intention is to unlock medicine. And then I am going to poll you about what is next. So a new poll on Twitch just got kicked off. I could put dandelions up here. Yeah. It's not a bad idea. It doesn't stay all that fertile, but I suppose that's fine. The only issue with this is, I guess we'll see during the next drought, is how much of this soil stays. I think it dries out because it's not irrigated, so it's not a great spot for it. Like over here would probably be a better spot, truth be told, because I don't think this area dries out all that often. So maybe I'll do that. Because there's another benefit to a forester over there, which is the forester over there could start planting mangroves like it's going out of style, which would be useful. So for the healer, I only need about 93 more science. Got it. Yeah, record-breaking average well-being. Taking a look. Another Lido might not be a bad idea. I just don't have a lot of riverfront space for it without having to, like, destroy even more mangrove. Which, I feel like the mangrove has paid the price enough. My 2 cents. All right, we got paper, planks, gears. Yeah, things are running pretty smooth. Plenty of canola oil. Fermented cassava. So fermented cassava's really got ramped up now. So fermented soybeans, fermented cassavas, and berries are very well supplied. Mangrove and kohlrabi, not so much. Just as a point of reference. I could replace this area with kohlrabi, but I don't think I will, because that's probably where the explosives factory is going to go, which looks to be the next priority. I'm also going to pause my lumberjacks, employing them as inventors, because I have a lot of wood in stock, and then once that wood in stock depletes a little bit more, I'll shift the labor around. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that science rolling in. Not quite a numb cruncher, but still pretty good. So, healer on the hill. For this, we'll need metal, which I've got, gears, which I've got, planks, which I've got, so we already have all the materials for that, and we already have the berries for that, so that should be very quick to build. Didn't I mention making tiered Lidos? Yes. At some point, if it is voted on that I do well-being, I'll make sure that all of the well-being that it can be supplied is supplied, aka tiered Lidos. But again, I work on what the voted priority is. Right now, it's medicine. There's a near infinite number of possibilities for what could be done. What gets done depends upon polling. So T-minus 1 day for the drought. So probably at about 0.3 days or so, 0.5 days, I'll start raising the floodgates. I'd rather have it flood a little than for me to run out of water and die. Flooding a little is acceptable. I'm glad I'm getting healthcare because beavers just keep getting injured. Stupid beavers with their stupid injuries. I'm kidding. They're workhorses. And you all voted that production is next. So once the... Oh, the medicine is already being supplied. Okay. So here's the thing. How I use the dynamite is going to be largely up to you. So I'll pull on that too. But right now the priority is explosives factory and dynamite. So there's a few different things that I could do. I could deepen the reservoir. I could create a new irrigated channel. I could maximize battery. Or create power network. And I'll explain all of these again. So deepen the reservoir would be blasting probably this area here so that there's more water stored in the reservoir. And speaking of which, let's start to fill up the rivers. So that would be there. The other one... So if we look at the other options, we have create a new river. Create a new river would be creating like an alternative path for the water to irrigate this upper plateau in order to be able to plant up there or use it somehow. We also have maximizing battery. So if we're going to be using gravity batteries, I can set up gravity batteries like here for a huge vertical drop if we dynamite some of this stuff, or a gravity battery over here on this mesa where I dynamite, like, these areas. The other thing that I could do, which isn't on there, is maximizing farmland. I didn't have that as an option. So I'm going to actually end that poll and add that. I didn't think of that. So I'm just going to call this farmland, water, a new river. Power, or, yeah, we'll just go with those options. So, sorry to make you vote twice. So, the mid-channel is flooding, almost. Mid-channel's flooding, so then the back reservoir is going to get topped up. And this will probably flood over too. But it seems like 0.4 days-ish is like, maybe 0.3, 0.4 days is like roughly the right amount of time in order to flood prep. So how long is this drought? 9 days? Oh, that's not very long. Could have been worse. So time to turn on the engine, because we will not get power out of these large water wheels. Now with the engine on, we are not going to be able to like meet all of the power needs for the facilities that we want running necessarily. Because this produces 400 watts, whereas this produced about 1,000. So there's a significant difference there. Come on, water. Drain out. It's like disabling the farmhouse. It's annoying. There it goes. And then this deep water pump is also swamped. So we now have some medicine supplied to these medical beds to heal beavers that get ill, provided by this healer here. And then the other thing that I wanted to do is to, as part of the healing, right, is to set up a forester over here that will be able to plant dandelions and the like. So we'll get that going. Why is everyone yelling floodgates? I feel like I did exactly what I needed to do with floodgates. I like the reminder. I feel like you're alarming me, and I don't think I missed anything. I'm worried now. Old messages before I did them? Oh, okay. All right. I figured that was the case. I double checked everything as if it was wrong. All right, so this healer is about to be out of dandelions, which is fine. That just means that we produced a lot of medicine. Yep. And these 3 medical beds are almost full of medicine, so that's perfect. So the idea over here is for this forester to put down dandelions down there, I guess. And that'll be a decent plot of dandelions. It's probably more than I actually need. And then I could also plant oak if we need extra wood. Not a terrible idea. And then plant mangrove, because mangrove fruit is something that is not getting supplied all that well. So, as one of the benefits, the prioritized resource for the forester will be dandelion, but one of the benefits of that is I can also start planting other things. In fact... why not expand it even more? I don't know how deep mangrove can go. I guess I'm about to find out. I will learn soon. So, you guys voted, I think, on a... well, it's not over yet, but a new river is the popular choice. Figured might as well have a loop. I've got the extra planks, so I have a nice loop to go all the way around. Alright, this forester is done, and the dandelions are already getting planted. Perfect. The other thing I'm going to need here, which I failed to do, is a gatherer flag and a lumberjack flag. So I'll put those flags over here. I'll put a gatherer flag here, which will cover the mangrove and dandelion. And then I'll put a woodcut flag. You know, I don't even need the woodcut flag right now. I'll add the woodcut flag if we have an urgent need of wood, but I can plant the oak and then just leave the oak there to be like old growth oak that doesn't get cut down necessarily. So this gatherer flag, I'm just going to pause because there's not even any dandelion for them to collect, nor is there mangrove fruit. So just, you know, there for later. Make it maple then? That's not a bad idea. If we want to like push towards syrup, I suppose. I think that's a folktale thing though. That's not an iron teeth thing, right? I could be wrong, but I think that's the case. So once the healer runs out of dandelions, which I think is now, I'm going to close down that healer because there's enough of a supply of medicine to support those beds for quite some time. Oh my god, we still have so much canola. I had 42 when I turned this off, and I still have 35. It gives you an idea of like how little your canola press needs to run for a population of this size. Obviously, my population could be a lot bigger, but it ain't. All right, again, taking a look at the supplies. Lido is almost fully supplied. Campfire and rooftop terrace is almost fully supplied. Everything else is kind of maxed. I don't think there's really a lot to be done here in terms of well-being. There's marginal gains that are not worth the effort, for now at least. What is he? Oh, I see. Yeah, this would have been better. I'm gonna fix this. This will be a more efficient use of ramps. Because then I'll get access to this section. Well, not entirely. I would have to build it like that. But I'm not doing that. This. Iterative improvements. This is not all that necessary, but I think it will help the forester seed more mangrove. Maybe. We'll see. And I certainly have the planks and the workforce to do it. Alright. Healer. Lacks materials, so you're fired. Go work as an inventor. And speaking of inventors, I don't have a lot of construction projects at the moment, so I'm going to fire 2 of the builder haulers working in the district and employ them as inventors as well. Getting more science so that we can unlock the explosives factory. So the explosives factory I'm going to build here, I think. It's convenient. I'm going to nuke the blueberries there to free up space. And then there's also one other change that I want to make, which is putting a platform there and a ramp here, so that the explosives factory can be hooked up to the road network. So, yeah, most of the beavers are in the 60% work, 30% move speed bracket, which is awesome. Are there any workspaces that I can shut down for even one more inventor? Maybe this gatherer? Well, they're still collecting mangrove fruits. That's kind of important. And this forester's still going too. So maybe not. Probably the scavenger flag. I'll shut that down. I'll have to remember to open that back up, but I have 62 scrap metal, which is a decent amount for the smelter to run. And now the science is really rolling in. So we'll stick a explosive factory here. And next to the explosives factory, storage for explosives. Because that totally won't go wrong, right? Let's not have a Beirut on our hands. That was fertilizer? True, but fertilizer explodes. It was what, ammonium nitrate, I think? Don't quote me on that. I don't have an eidetic memory. But I think that was the case. So we're about halfway into the drought. It has had almost no effect on our poor little beavers that prefer running water. But the advantage of the engine, I think, can't be overstated. I have had no problems supplying power to things. I mean, granted, it's only 81% of the power, but I've had no problem supplying power to things, despite the fact that we don't have, you know, we don't have running power water wheels. All right, I think, let's take a look. This forester is not planting deeper. Got it. So there is a depth maximum. Okay. Well, we learned something, I suppose. I can fit some more mangroves there. And then I'll probably fire him. So this area is too deep. So it's one tier deep for mangroves, which is fine. I mean, it's probably about doubled the amount of total mangroves that we have planted, so still very, very useful. Once this is built, I can remove these drive shafts? I can, yeah, because I will be able to have a high power shaft right there, won't I? It's almost as if I had planned that. Almost. Thanks for reminding me, though, Fangbase. Because just because I planned it doesn't mean I will remember my own plans. I swear I'm not senile. So the explosive factory just needs some metal blocks. And I think they're all getting delivered. I think we'd stockpiled, almost stockpiled enough. We're 6 shy, 6 shy. And I was right. Up here, because the water's too deep, it doesn't actually irrigate this plateau. So this would not be a good place for dandelions, but over yonder, this is a nice, lush valley for dandelions. Forester, you are out of work. I think it might be time to get some more inventors. These inventors are going to be workplace, the lowest possible priority, so that if any other work can be done in and around this town, it gets done. But I have unemployed people right now, so I might as well employ them inventing. So we need 292 more science to unlock dynamite. And you guys voted for me to create an alternative path for the river. I might want to start working on that. So this looks like a really nice vertical drop. I mentioned that because that would be good for vertical batteries, putting our vertical batteries up here, and then having a giant vertical drop for the weight of the battery to descend to supply power. So why I mention that is if we want to create an alternative path, obviously I need to create some sort of ladder or walkway up there to this high waterfall plateau. So I'm going to pause the game for a second and think about that. It'd be ideal if these ruins weren't in the way, but let's say we just have to work with the ruins. So the thought of a river. Now, where I have the temple right now, it might serve me to move that temple to a more neutral location like here, which will be out of the way of the rivers. So if we run the rivers down the middle, it's most likely going to irrigate better than running it around the temple. So yeah, I'm gonna bite the bullet and move the temple. And that's going to be a lot of materials to do, but I think it will ultimately be worth it in preparation. And then once we have the temple moved, getting ready to create a channel here, and I'll probably end up having to move the inventors as well. The idea, there's two different ways to run rivers. I could have it run out to its own separate out. Well, actually, that might even be cheaper, is if I run the river down, sort of following, here, if you follow the mouse here, run the river down like this, and then over a little bit to irrigate this section of trees, and then out here with like floodgates, so that the water is moving, producing mechanical power, but then I'll have floodgates that can raise to preserve power for when droughts happen. And then probably something like, I don't know about river depth. River depth is a big thing, because the deeper the river goes, the more protected it is from droughts. Every 22 days, water will evaporate 1 unit of water. So if it was a 1 deep river, it would be protected from a 22-day drought. If it's a 2 deep river, it's a 44-day drought. 44-day droughts are going to be very uncommon, but it won't be impossible to have a 22-day drought. So what I might want to do is just first iteration to have a 1 deep river, because it's half the cost, and then eventually the plan is to channel it out deeper, but that might disrupt any water wheels that get built on that channel. So I don't know. Well, I'll think about that. This is 1 metal block away. Nice. Would it be smart to run the big river back into the big reservoir? Not necessarily. So, and here's why. It's not a terrible idea, but here's why. If that was the case, the depth of the river would have to be the maximum height of the reservoir, which means it would be a ton of explosive excavation. Because if we want to keep water in the river, having it flow back into the reservoir, it would mean it would require a much longer channel, which uses up potential land use. And then it would have to terminate here. I mean, it's doable, but I would have to like nuke everything here. This is all potentially in the way. So I suppose it's not a terrible idea design-wise, but it like doubles the cost of the project, and then also has me destroying a sizable swath of the currently built infrastructure. Where I could channel underneath the campfires and all that, but campfires specifically can only be built on ground. It can't be built on like platforms. So it would be very disruptive. But it's a good idea, though. I don't think it's a good idea for me, specifically. Yeah, we only have 2 days left of this drought. The dandelions are starting to come up, so I'm going to turn on the gather flag and gather up the dandelions that are blooming so that we can make more medicine when we need it. And in fact, I had dandelion storage here. I'm going to get rid of it and stick a small warehouse for dandelions up here. I'll switch around the scavenger flag so the dandelions are stored right next to it. Where are dandelions? So it looks like Campfire, Rooftop Terrace, and Lido are all sort of equally used. I mean, one thing that I could do in the future is to set up Lidos here, which is far closer to where people sleep, making it easier, because the run... I mean, as they become happier, the run from here to here will be lessened, because their move speed will increase. But it might help to minimize the travel time. No, I just had 3 beavers die of old age. Rip my inventors. Alright, this gather is just about done filling up the gather flag. And I'm closing in on having the science needed for explosives. Oh, you know, let's raise the priority of the explosives factories so that we prioritize making explosives. So that once it's dynamite, it's funny that you can get explosives but not have dynamite. It's just the way the game is, I suppose. But once we have the capacity to actually use dynamite, I'll be able to start channeling. So it's important to have the explosives factory running as a result. Okay, drought's over. Reducing the floodgates down to non-drought levels. But I don't think I'm going to change the primary floodgates to lower levels. I'm just going to rely on engine power until the water is running naturally. It's just a little bit easier to manage that way. Man, I have so many vacancies. Oh. Could I add more breeding pods? Yeah, I could afford more breeding pods at this point. Go up to 4. We definitely have the berry and water supply for it. I like to, in this game, avoid like explosive population growth because it can become, it's very difficult to intentionally kill beavers, right? Like, I guess I could have them try to stand next to dynamite and blow them up or whatever. It's way easier to make sure they're not born than to try to murder them, in other words. And I have lost before, or not lost, but I've had crippled my game by not being careful with that, and then all of a sudden having explosive population growth, and then all the beavers kind of just, it's a bad time. Just a bad time. Alright, we are back on Large Water Wheel. Thank you for tuning in to Timberborn, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 2nd. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, a link can be found in the description of this video or at Rhadamant.com. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow beavers.